Bledsoe was arrested.
Patrick Montgomery was in court.
Jonathan Manapa will stay in federal custody.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So 58-year-old North Carolina resident Johnny Harris commented on a friend's Facebook post about the Million MAGA March in D.C. On December 21st, he wrote, quote, "We will be there 1776. Later that day, he commented again. He wrote, quote, "Here comes the boom. We will be there to celebrate for 4 more years of our great president, Donald J. Trump." The following day, Harris left an additional comment warning, quote, "It will be war." Then on January 2nd of 2021, Harris wrote, quote, "You can't stop us. We will be there, Trump or war." So he arrived in D.C. on the night of January 5th, and he was seen in photos out on the street. He was wearing a knife in a belt holster, and Harris tried to cross the police line that night, and they pushed him back. Sometime later, he was interviewed by a January 6th convict named Anthony Giannett. You guys might remember him. He hosts a right-wing show on D Live, which is a YouTube competitor. He goes by the name of Baked Alaska. So Harris told Giannett's audience, quote, "Fuck Antifa." And then he yelled out, quote, "Trump or war, Trump or war." So on January 6th, Harris marched to the Capitol. He marched with the Proud Boys, by the way, which he's not a member of the Proud Boys, but he marched with them. And he was seen on video at the front of the police lines while others were fighting with the police. About an hour after he entered the restricted grounds, Harris was seen on surveillance video. He illegally entered the building. And outside of the old Supreme Court chamber, Harris was heard on video telling officers, quote, "There's a million more of us behind us, okay? This is not against y'all. It's not about y'all. This is your government done this to y'all too." From there, Harris traveled to the rotunda, and in response to officers trying to move people toward the exit, Harris picked up a bullhorn and he started a call and response of "Whose house? Our house." Then a French media reporter approached Harris and asked if he was, quote, "trying to disturb the debate." And Harris initially said no, but then he said, quote, "Oh yeah, we're trying to upset their decision. We're trying to make them make the right decision. Donald Trump won this election by far. We're not going to let it be stolen from us." Now, for the record, for the YouTube gods, no, you've changed your policy. That is what he said. That is a quote. That is not what I believe. The election was not stolen. 2020 election was legitimate. Biden won. Okay? All right. The reporter asked Harris if he planned to stay in the Capitol, and he replied, quote, "Until Donald Trump is president, yes. Well, he is president. Until he gets his reelection, we will be here. Siege of the White House or the Capitol building. We're not here to hurt anybody. We're just here to let them know that there's a million of us or more out there that will come through this building if necessary." And when the reporter asked Harris what he expected, he said, quote, "What should rightfully be done? Donald Trump is our president, and he will be reelected, and the rest of them will go to jail." And during this time, Harris refused officers' orders to leave the building. He kept positioning himself at the front of the police line. And then at some point, Harris dropped his cell phone on the ground. So he put his hand, for some reason, on an officer's chest and shoved him while he was bending down to retrieve the phone. I don't know if the officer was going to step on it or what the deal was, but the officer pushed Harris back. And then Harris yelled at the officer, quote, "Motherfuckers, who you pushing on? I'm just getting my goddamn phone." And then Harris said, quote, "I'm going to find that motherfucker." And then another officer told Harris, quote, "Please back up, okay? Please back up." And Harris told him, quote, "I told you I was getting my phone. What the fuck's wrong with y'all? We're peaceful, man." Yeah, you sound real peaceful. So after squabbling with the officers over his flag, over his bullhorn, about 45 minutes after entering the building, Harris was finally escorted out of the rotunda. And the police say he was one of the last to be removed. Actually, if you look at the photos, you'll see Everybody was out pretty much but him. So following the Capitol attack, Harris sent a message to a Facebook contact, and he said in part, quote, "We just got started." And then, quote, "Even if we must give our lives to stop this awful takeover," and quote, "we will not go away. We will prevail. We will not give up. It started today." He also spread misinformation online. This was even after his arrest. He blamed all the usual suspects like Antifa, Nancy Pelosi. He said the police stood back and let everybody walk in. But when Harris was interviewed by the FBI, which was on January 20th of 2021, he admitted that he saw other people fighting with the police and that he saw them spraying the police with chemicals. And then he also admitted to seeing officers trying to secure doors and keep the mob out. So total, double talk out of both sides of his mouth. Harris claimed that he was completely peaceful also. And then he said that he fist bumped officers on the way out. He also admitted that he was embarrassed, but then he said, given the chance, he'd do it all again. So Harris was arrested on March 18th of 2021, and he was charged with entering a restricted building or grounds, 2 counts of disorderly conduct, and parading or demonstrating in a Capitol. In February of 2023, Harris pleaded guilty to disorderly conduct in a restricted building. So he was looking at up to 1 year in prison, 1 year of probation, and $100,000 in fines. This time, the prosecutor requested the full 1 year prison term, also 1 year of probation, and then they asked for 60 hours of community service and $500 in restitution. And as with other January 6 defendants, Harris has an extensive criminal history. Over the course of decades, he has been convicted of robbery, kidnapping, breaking and entering, theft, assault, escape from prison, resisting a public officer, disorderly conduct, and then various misdemeanor drug possession charges. And on top of all that, he has 53 additional arrests that didn't result in a conviction. And those were for things like aggravated assault, assaulting the mother of his children, armed robbery, breaking and entering. So, yeah, very prolific criminal. So U.S. District Judge Randolph Moss presided over Harris' case. I couldn't locate any information about what was said at the sentencing hearing, but Judge Moss sentenced Harris to only 7 months in jail, 1 year of probation, and $500 in restitution. I mean, seriously, with this criminal history, this judge couldn't give him the full year. And yet these people want to cry about how unfairly they're being treated. It's absolutely unreal. So anyway, guys, I'm sure we'll hear more about Harris. So I will let you know when I do. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. I'll talk with you soon.